how to survive all of the traps in Saw X. You guys have been absolutely loving the Saw video, so today we're going to be checking out how to beat Jigsaw in Saw X. Go check out Nerd Explained down in the description below for this absolutely amazing video. And with all of that being said, guys, let's jump right into it.
How to beat Jigsaw in
Saw X.
Jigsaw is taking his one-man mutilation extravaganza international. We're going to have to expand our minds, reset our understanding of logic, and ignore the almost magical ways in which he's able to create elaborate traps in another country with zero prep time and an insane number of resources
John is goated.
Disposal.
For real.
That way, we can focus on surviving his bloody morality lessons instead of wondering how he literally pulled off any of this in such a short amount of time.
Because he's the GOAT. That's what he does.
John's sick. The brain cancer has left him weak, struggling with the day-to-day reality of scribbling saw traps in his little moleskin notebook.
Reverse bear
That'd
trap.
be one hell of a thing to leave on a public bus. John's doctor tells him his latest scans show no improvement and that he should try to die easy. John definitely appreciates the irony, but before he's even left the hospital, he's already fantasizing about using his latest contraption on a janitor stealing from hospital patient.
Yo, the eye suck trap is crazy.
All you have to do is click the dial
and break all your fingers.
and you will live.
All your fingers. Click. This was crazy. Genuinely crazy.
Out to lunch, he encounters a fellow patient.
Genuinely
Tells him
crazy.
that he's been healed since they last saw each other. He shows off his scar and gives John the number of a Norwegian doctor who's using gene therapy and surgery to excise cancer for good. The doctor's daughter, Cecilia, tells John they have to move their secret clinic from country to country because Big Pharma doesn't want people to know that they can be cured. John is a desperate man. This is exactly what he's looking for.
Yep.
Every single one of us would take a risk if we thought it was our last chance. Cecilia tells John she can fit him into her next cycle of patients in Mexico City, and away he goes. Cecilia's driver, Diego, picks him up from the airport, giving him a bloody history lesson on their way to some nondescript part of the
Diego,
city,
bro. He didn't even know.
Cuts them off, and two armed men accost John, then sneak him into the clinic. A bit of theater Cecilia claims is necessary to keep their work safe. A bit of a red flag. Safe
she had
from
to have known,
whom?
bro.
Does Big Pharma have moles at the airport?
She had to have known what she was doing.
Terminal. Do you know how hit or miss that would be? The only person that they'd be after is you, Cecilia. To find you, they just need to track the shipments of medical equipment and drugs you'd need to operate this clinic in the first place. It's probably more likely that John's about to get his organs harvested for free, and this theater is Cecilia covering her tracks. Gabriella welcomes John to what she says is her family's house. Cecilia is there waiting for him. She gives him a guided tour. Outside, we meet Carlos and his dad, who she says is the land's caretaker. Inside the factory building, we meet Mateo, the anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
Valentina, the nurse.
The anesthesiologist,
and Parker, another
bro.
patient who's just had the operation for his throat cancer. The next day, John's already on the operating table. Cecilia says she's brought in the best neurosurgeon from Mexico City's best hospital to perform an awake craniotomy, sawing into his skull while he's partially awake so they can make
when I realized what was going on in this movie,
while they're removing
I
his
was
tumor. Another red
I was
flag.
geeking.
While I believe that anybody can be bought for the right price, the best of any profession isn't going to risk their livelihood in a black market OR like this. Or if they are, I want to talk to them first. If it were me, I'd think Cecilia was overplaying her hand here. Half drugged, John watches video of the surgery before they put him to sleep. John wakes in another part of the city with Cecilia by his side. His vitals look great, and she tells him to relax and not to remove the bandage on his head because it's antibacterial. The placebo effect kicks in, and John starts to feel
he feels great.
He uses a
feels
nearby
great.
radio tower to triangulate the location of Cecilia's secret clinic so he can give them a gift for all that they've done.
Bro, spun the
Of course,
block.
he
Bad
arrives
idea,
to
John.
find the house is empty and the lab is basically destroyed. All save a convenient video on the monitor, cued to reveal that what he saw
fake
during
surgery.
was
This
just a
had
medical
me
school
crazy.
instructional video. video. He whips off the bandage and finds
No
no scar
cuts.
on his head. And with that, every single one of these idiots deserves to die.
Getting packed
Not
up.
because they conned Jigsaw, but because
Getting
of
packed
this
up.
sloppy D- effort. All you had to do was actually cut his head and sew it back up, and he would have never been the
Yeah, he
wiser.
wouldn't have known.
Not until it was too late to find all of you anyway. But of course, that would require more brain power than our little group of miscreants collectively possess.
I
You
just
see,
don't understand how they didn't know. Like, bro, how do you not know who he is?
Grifts
How do you not
don't
know who he
really work
is?
if you have easily trackable
You played a
patterns.
game, bruh.
John finds the
No pun
taxi
intended.
driver Diego immediately. He just stakes out the popular monument Diego showed him on their drive. I mean, he does a dude who could easily step on the gas right here and destroy his entire plan. So, if you're in the Jigsaw business, have Amanda drive him to a more
Yep.
discreet location for this first. After telling John where to find the others, Diego wakes in a trap that feels underbaked, not gonna lie.
Bro, it's not underbaked. He has pipe bombs attached to his wrists with surgical knives. The only thing that he can do is to get him off before his arms explode, bro. That's scary, bro.
He's limply bound by rope with his hands wrapped in duct tape, holding scalpels.
Yeah.
Bombs have been attached to his forearms using galvanized cable. Panicked, he cuts the rope across his chest and steps away, pulling the starter pin, which
Dummy.
doesn't start the timer on the bombs. The countdowns don't begin until after he's played John's cassette, which tells him the scalpels can't cut the cable, but can cut his flesh. The fact that the timer doesn't start until after he listens to the tape means John is triggering the countdown, which makes me wonder what he would have done if we'd just started hacking at her arms before releasing ourselves
Oh,
from
dude,
the rope.
when I
Panic
watched that-
will be your most
When I watched that, man, my wrists hurt, bro. My wrists hurt.
immediate
Can't
enemy.
lie.
If you wake up booby-trapped, catch your breath, observe, plan, then react.
Yeah.
Start by slicing off the duct tape and freeing your dominant hand. This gives you a tactile advantage, navigating where and how to cut. And it means you won't cut yourself unnecessarily.
Yeah,
Turn your
but-
arm over. Look at how the cables are attached. Are the ends soldered together to make loops, or are they clipped? In both cases, that is the weakest point of connection. Double check that cutting or breaking them isn't an option. Second, remember you have two big bones in each forearm. Gently pull on the bomb to check whether the cables are wrapped around either bone. It'd suck to hack your arm apart, only to find out you have to cut off the whole thing. Again, you and I know that the bombs are only attached to flesh because John gives his victims an actual chance to survive, but Diego wouldn't. Therefore,
The thing is, though, is he, in that moment, you only have a certain amount of time in order to do that. So that's my thing. You only have a
cables
certain
per
amount of
bomb.
time.
Line up the scalpel with each wire. Slice directly down until the loop wiggles freely. Move to the next and do it again. Work quickly, not sloppily. Otherwise, you're gonna slice through your artery and bleed to death in minutes.
True.
Diego wastes so much time trying to escape, like Edward's scalpel hands, that he barely has half his time left when he starts to cut.
Yeah, this was bad, dude. I was like,
With seconds left, he detaches the second bomb and hits the deck as they explode. You gotta love how he dives to the open floor, like there aren't 1,000 steel columns to hide behind. John recruits Amanda and Detective Hoffman.
Yo, when
to help
Amanda
him
was
with the
there,
others. Two of them
I
are
was
easy
like,
pickings.
yeah.
Valentina's grabbed while being by John in the car, and Mateo leaves the goddamn door open to the clinic where
Yep.
he works as a night janitor. Gabriella's grabbed while wasted in a club bathroom, but the movie skips over how Amanda got her unconscious out afterward. To be honest, that probably wasn't hard. Mexico City has a ridiculously high kidnapping rate. Cecilia is taken from her home, which seems to be about as reliable as she is. She has an entire camera system, but no panic room and no weapons. She doesn't even call anyone. She sees the pig intruder on her roof, runs to the car,
Yep.
and doesn't check the back seat, where John is waiting to sedate her.
Gotcha.
The foursome wake bound in the factory, which has been jigsawed overnight. Amanda strips Cecilia of her coat and phone and places all of her stuff on a rolling cart in plain view at the center of the room. seems a little showy to me. Intentional. I'd be wondering why she'd leave all her stuff here with us at all. Of course, John does his holier-than-thou monologue, mentioning that they've stashed all of Cecilia's ill-gotten gains upstairs. John tells Valentina that she's
dude, this trap was crazy.
Sawing
I'm not
block.
surviving
Rope
that.
is wrapped
100%.
around her neck, but otherwise her body is untethered. A razor-sharp wire is suspended in front of her, attached to a machine that will slice off her head if she can't use a ghillie wire saw to cut off her leg and deposit 3 ounces of bone marrow into a suction tube.
Yeah, it was
attached
crazy.
to a nearby scale. That sounds straightforward enough.
It's not.
Until she actually pulls the saw from the box, triggering a 3-minute countdown.
Bro, she was so close too, though. She was genuinely
Why the
so
arbitrary
close.
timer, exactly.
So close.
They know they'll never leave unless they play the game. Who cares if it takes 5 minutes or 4 or 18 to chop off your own leg? People comment that Amanda's a bad Jigsaw replacement because some of her traps are unbeatable, but this is splashing in the same kiddie pool. Ghillie saws are insanely fast at bone amputation, but we're talking 10 seconds here. Just longer than you last in the bedroom. But that's in a modern OR, with a sedated patient in a proper tourniquet and with the meat already cut and stripped from the bone. The actual amputation is the short part. All the prep so you don't die can take between 15 and 90 minutes, depending on the body part.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Wraps a movie
Yo,
tourniquet around her leg and starts sawing.
Bruh, it had me just... It hurt so bad when I watched it. So bad. And she was so close. She was like this close.
By the time the leg has come off and the marrow actually reaches the machine, there's only 17 seconds remaining.
She took too long.
Of course, it's not enough time.
And then she just toasted.
So again, she was like 20 seconds away from giving Jigsaw what he asked for.
Yep.
How do those extra seconds make her less worthy of surviving?
Yep.
Exactly. Anyway, maybe that's just my pet peeve. No, if it were me, I would have gone for the suction tube first. It's attached to the machine with a scale. Just yank that sucker over and press down on the scale plate. Could there be a booby trap there too? Sure, but that's true for anywhere in this place. At the very
I don't
least,
know,
if
bro.
nothing happens and we still
I'm not
trigger the
surviving
timer,
that.
we'd have the scale within reach to
I'm
activate
not. I'm A, not cutting off my own leg, and B, I'm just. I'm not playing the game.
The other non-invasive option, though, is to use the wire saw to cut through the rope around our neck instead of our leg. Thread the wire through, saw away from our flesh, and shimmy down 5 seconds after the timer begins. Also, why aren't any of you other people trying to break your chains while this is happening? That will be you soon enough. Cecilia's phone begins to ring just out of reach, and honestly, what she comes up with to reach it,
Yeah, this was
is
crazy.
clever enough.
Bro, when she takes what she does, because I obviously can't say it, when she takes what she does and she tries to get the cart to her, bro, movie had me going like,
now
that's
she
too
just
far.
So happens to find a weird piece of sharpened metal hanging around, but I'm gonna ignore that for now because what she's about to do could be done without it. She drags Valentina's corpse over and slices it open, yanking out her intestines to use as a rope to pull the cart within reach.
Crazy, absolutely insane.
My how to beat for quicksand could have gone very differently. She calls someone and tells them she's been kidnapped right before Amanda zaps her and takes the phone away. Cecilia tries to bargain, saying that even though she's a fraud, the actual procedure her father performs is real. John could have it, which Amanda suggests her research says is true. God, I love it. That means this witch heard her dad's Hippocratic oath and sprinted in the opposite direction. Amanda warns John they have a visitor. It's Parker, the other patient. Amanda misdirects him with her pig suit and knocks him the out.
Yes,
when
she
he
does.
wakes, he tells John that Cecilia stole from him too. John says he'll let him confront Cecilia once she's played her game. But first, it's Mateo's turn.
Yeah,
Feel the
bro.
vibe? Billy rolls over to Mateo.
Mateo was
who's
cooked from
strapped
the
to an
beginning,
electric
bro. No pun
chair
intended.
turned Iron Maiden. A camera shows him the back of his own head, which has been shaved for his own awake craniotomy. John tells him that he'll need to place a large enough piece of his own brain into an enzyme container, which will break it down, closing a circuit in the machine holding the key. Again, he has 3 minutes to do all of that.
Crazy.
Normal craniotomies take 1 to 2 hours. Mateo is supposed to open, yank, and let that dissolve in the enzyme tank in 1/20th of that time.
Yep.
Can he get the tissue out in
No,
under
he
3
can't.
minutes?
No, he
Sure,
can't.
there's no quality of life guarantee, but it is possible. What's not possible is the brain tissue dissolving fast enough for it to matter. The most efficient cell dissociation enzyme for brain tissue is called papain, but even that enzyme requires 30 minutes at 37 degrees Celsius or 98 degrees Fahrenheit to break down brain matter.
Yeah.
This is an impossible test.
Bro's
nuking
cooked.
any
Like I
claim
said,
to
cooked from
moral
the beginning.
superiority
We all knew
John
he was
has.
cooked from the beginning,
Or
though.
is it? Without knowing what type of enzyme John is using, everything is up for experimentation. We don't have to use brain tissue to close the electric circuit. Papain works on blood, and blood is a conductor of electricity. It also works on fat-free mass, or any lean body part that doesn't contain excess fat, like your muscles. Not as well as neurons or nerves, but probably well and fast enough for this test. Mateo doesn't know that. It takes an entire minute just to put the electric drill together.
Yep.
But he does
And then he
manage
starts-
to cut out a chunk of
He
his
starts
brain.
going crazy. Yeah, bro goes crazy on the trap.
But as I predicted, it takes so long
Too
to
long.
dissolve that the timer runs out.
And the thing
his
closes,
heat death Iron
and bro
Maiden
gets cooked.
slams shut.
Completely cooked. Completely cooked.
With dawn approaching, John tells Amanda to release Parker to see if he'll play by the rules.
Nah.
While Gabriella's game begins, she's hoisted into the air.
Gabriella's
pulled
game
between
really
a
wasn't
chain
that
on
bad,
her wrist
though.
and one on her ankle. She's told she must use the hammer dangling in front of
Bro,
her to
all she got to do is break her ankle, which sounds crazy, I know. But then all she has to do is break her wrist. I know, but compared to the other traps, bro, it ain't
free
that bad.
herself while being roasted alive by a radiation machine, or so he says. Hotter chemotherapy radiations only use temps up to 45 degrees Celsius, or 113 degrees Fahrenheit, and are not administered like this. This looks like an infrared lamp, which can burn as high as 300 degrees Celsius,
Yeah.
or about 600 degrees Fahrenheit,
That's way too hot.
scorching the flesh on her face. Cecilia tells her to go for the foot first, so she'll swing out of the light, which isn't a bad idea.
Yeah.
But once her foot is loose, the lamp
turns
slides
and goes
sideways.
after her.
She continues to burn. Finally, she breaks her hand and falls to the floor, but she's badly burned. John tells Amanda to take her to a hospital, but she turns to find Parker holding his gun on them.
Yep.
Just fire, you idiot. What are you waiting
Yep,
for?
I would've clipped both of them.
He's been with Cecilia since the beginning. Who saw that
I would've
coming?
clipped both of
Great.
them.
Now shoot them. Now? How about now? Parker forces John to strap himself into Cecilia's chain and Amanda into another, while Cecilia kills Gabriella by breaking her neck.
Yep.
A sound cuts in from outside. It's Carlos, the kid from
kid.
earlier who's gotten up at the crack of dawn to come bounce a soccer ball against the factory. Cecilia brings him in and straps him to the device with John out of sheer cartoon villainy. Don't you two have to leave or something? John tells the kid not to pull the lever as the game begins. They're yanked to the floor by their
This kid was
chains.
goated, bro. Carlos was hella goated. Hella goated. Like,
How lucky that all of this is happening in a factory with giant blood sprinklers already installed. Does this one have a timer, or are we just piped into the city's limitless blood supply? Imagine that utility bill. The machine works so that each person can push the lever to drown the other person, or pull the lever to drown themselves. John tries to save Carlos, but Carlos is a brave little weirdo. who
Carlos
takes
is
as much
goated.
as he can to save John.
Carlos is goated, bro.
This one's easy to beat, since there's no way it's limitless. Just take turns with the other person until the supply runs out. Parker and Cecilia leave them to it, and head to the office to
Yep.
retrieve their money. But wouldn't you know it, they were both of them deceived.
If you were the
Dummies.
last player, who was supposed to be on the other side of that plank with you?
There's some money.
Yep. Now the game
Both
started.
know what a timer means. Either one of you want to run for that open door? No? The blood stops and the door slams shut, locking them in the office.
Stupid.
Remember earlier when I said they should have been using their downtime to remove their chains? Yeah, they come apart easily as John and Amanda twist small knobs on the sides and release themselves, then free Carlos. We learn that Diego told John about Parker too, but Hoffman couldn't find him like the others,
Yep.
so they left Cecilia's phone within reach so she could call him for help. Clever. save
So
for one
smart.
thing, which we'll get back to in a minute. Toxic gas flows
Yep.
into the office, burning their flesh as a small opening appears in the wall, enough for one of them to stick their head out. Cecilia lunges for it. Parker pulls her away,
Yep, throws
and they
her off.
fight until Cecilia
Kills
gets
him.
the upper hand
Yep.
and ends him.
Crazy. Crazy.
So, does that mean the worst one gets to live?
Yes.
Is she just
Yes.
trapped there until she dies?
Cecilia is
Off if you think
alive.
of-
That was insane. That is exactly how to beat Jigsaw in Saw X. Now, me personally, I'm probably only surviving 3 traps. I'm probably surviving the gas trap, the blood trap, and then maybe the radiation trap. The other 2, I'm cooked. It is just not going to happen. I'm not sawing off my leg. On top of it, I'm also not going to do anything having to do with surgery to myself. You might as well just close the mask and call it a day. But hopefully you guys did go and enjoy today's video, and if you did, don't forget to drop a like on it. Go check out Nerd Explain down in the description below. This was an absolutely amazing video, and if you guys want to see more, definitely let me know down in the comment section below. But with all of that being said, guys, my name is Chris, and of course, I will catch you guys on the next one.